Hey guys, welcome back to another ASMR video, and this is an interesting one. This is The Art of Goosebumps by Sarah Rodriguez, with an introduction by R.L. Stine. And I don't know if all of you know or not, but I'm a huge, obsessed with Goosebumps. As a kid, my first ever book that I got was The Night of the Living Dummy, and ended up being Goosebumps book number 7 at the time. And I remember reading it in my bedroom. I was probably 9 or 10, maybe 8 to 10, I forget. But I remember reading it and thinking to myself, and I'll never forget this image. I was probably halfway through the book, and I closed it for a little bit, right? I closed it even though, so I closed it not fully, but so obviously my hand was where I had left off. And I remember looking up to no one in particular because it was late at night. I remember saying out loud, "This is incredible," or something along those lines. "This is amazing," or "This is really good," something along those lines. And ever since I was hooked, and there was every month we had this Scholastic newsletter that would come out, and we couldn't wait for it to see what the next cover of the Goosebumps book would look like, and we'd always order it. And eventually we stopped ordering it through Scholastic because it would take forever, and we would just me and my friends would call the nearest bookstore, and it was always a race to see who could get it first. And there was this one kid in my class who would always get it first, and he'd always bring it to school. And I was so pissed when he would get it. His mom didn't work. His dad was a gynecologist. His mom was able to stay home and literally just, when the book came in, she could go out and get it, and she'd have it. Whereas my mom was working, single parent, and by the time she got home, if it was too late, we'd just get it the following day. And it was too late because then this kid would always bring the book in, and everybody would be like, "Oh, wow, you're so lucky you got the book." And I was always pissed, but I would always get the book. And that's how it started. And then as I got older, I read a lot of R.L. Stine's other books. I have every copy of every Goosebumps book, with the exception of the Choose Your Own Goosebumps. I didn't really care for those. But I have every Goosebumps Series 2000. I have all of those. I have The Nightmare Room. I have Mostly Ghostly. I have Goosebumps Horrorland. I have Slappy World. And he's still writing to this day, R.L. Stine is. I don't have every Fear Street book. I wish I did. And I don't have every Ghosts of Fear Street book. And I also don't have every Point horror novel that R.L. Stine wrote. Standalone novels. But my goal at some point is to try to track them all down and have them, not the republished ones with the different covers. I want the original ones. So, but anyway, when I saw this book online, I said, you know what, I got to grab this because it has to do with Goosebumps. So let's take a look and let's see what's inside. I think they're going to go over every cover, but I don't really know. Let me zoom out a little so you guys can see. There we go. So it's The Art of Goosebumps, and it's published by Dynamite. And if I recall, this guy was on the Tales to Give You Goosebumps series. And I think I still have them. Yep, I have them sealed. I have one sealed, or two sealed, the Christmas and the regular, that came with Pogs. I have them sealed, which is cool. So we got Slappy, obviously, here. We have the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. We have the Lawn Gnomes. We have I forget the name of the Dracula book. It's like Vampire Breath, I think it was called. This is The Mummy, obviously, from the Mummy series. Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. That's what that is. This I don't remember. This is a Shocker on Shock Street, if I recall correctly. And this guy in the middle here, I can't really get a good look. I don't know what that would be. But let's see. That's right, his name was Curly. Okay, so I'm going to read this. This is interesting. This is The Chosen One by Rachel Deering. In the summer of 1992, Scholastic tasked two terrifyingly talented artists with creating the cover paintings for the books that would premiere the Goosebumps series. At that time, 4 books in the line were being market tested by the publisher to see how young readers would react to R.L. Stine's particular brand of humor-tinged horror. One element that was sure to catch the attention of little eyes everywhere was striking cover art, but Scholastic wasn't sure who might be the right man for the job. Tim Jacobus was an eager young New Jersey artist who had dreamed of painting album covers for progressive rock bands from an early age, having been inspired by his childhood hero Roger Dean of Yes Asia and Uriah Heep fame. Rather than diving straight into the world of album cover paintings, though, Tim set his sights on an industry that would guarantee him a high level of work and thus a great amount of practice. That industry was paperback book publishing. His first paid work came in 1985 from a science fiction publisher called DAW, for which he produced the covers for Fugitive in Transit by Edward Lillewin and Brains Incorporated by Ron Goulart. He went on to paint 3 more covers for the publisher that year before the paying gigs dried up, and he faced a tough few years without notable work. In 1988, he caught a break that would finally get the ball rolling for his career with a cover painting for a release of The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. The popularity of that paperback earned Jacobus well-deserved attention and consistent work from more major publishers. And by 1991, Scholastic had their eye on him. They commissioned him to paint the iconic purple and blue facade that would grace the cover for the very first Goosebumps book, Welcome to Deadhouse. The second book in the series, Stay Out of the Basement, featured cover art by the skilled hand of Jim Thiessen. Before singing paint on the putrid plant-infested hand creeping around the basement door, Thiessen illustrated a short 3-page comic for the adult-themed Heavy Metal magazine. From that brief stint in comics, he made the leap to creating package art for the company's HG Toys and CBS Toys, as well as assisting them in designing and developing new toy lines. Some 4 years later, the adult world came to reclaim Jim, and he found himself gaining popularity as a cover artist for novels. Being a fan of fantastical creatures and horrors alike, he was typecast as the horror guy in the eyes of his peers and clients. With early assignments for macabre pulp fiction pieces, he was afforded a great deal of flexibility, and so he created not only illustrations and paintings, but also a number of gruesome 3-dimensional sculptures for publisher Zebra Books. The apex of this vile vocation was a set of commissions from Doubleday for reissues of 4 novels by the legendary author Stephen King, as well as the Tor Books cover for the seminal horror sci-fi story I Am Legend by the Twilight Zone screenwriter Richard Matheson. In the end, Scholastic found Tim Jacobus' use of vivid, saturated color and odd perspectives to be a better fit for the intended tone of the series, a style that would soften the harsh edges of the seemingly horrific themes and make it more palatable for their audience. This hard-won victory earned him a full-time job as the official Goosebumps artist, painting 60 of the 62 covers for the original lineup and more than 100 covers over the life of the series. And so, introduction by R.L. Stine. People ask me what my favorite Goosebumps cover is, and I never have an answer. After all, there are more than 130 Goosebumps books now, and dozens of funny, frightening covers that could all go on my favorites list. In cover after cover, Tim has captured that combination of humor and horror that I strive for in each book. Just scary enough, just funny enough to make you look twice. Some of my favorites, let me think. Slappy says, I choose Tim's painting for the original Slappy book, Night of the Living Dummy. It's the first portrait ever of Slappy, and he's truly maniacal, with bulging, icy blue eyes and a terrifying grin. And there's a perfect cover line. He walks, he stalks. Dogs. To be frank, I'm a dog person. I think cats are a lot scarier than dogs. But the cover painting Tim did for the book entitled The Barking Ghost, the close-up of the ferocious roaring dog, is bold and frightening and actually made me shiver. The Haunted Mask. Tim's original cover painting for The Haunted Mask perfectly captures the feel of Halloween and the terror of this most evil mask. This is one of my favorite books and all-time favorite covers. So many memorable covers, but one thing I remember most are the problem covers. The problems are usually created because the cover paintings must be done before the book manuscript is finished. Here's an example. Say Cheese and Die, which is down here, is a story about kids who find an evil camera that takes photos of bad things that will happen in the future. But when Tim's cover painting came in, we were surprised to see that it had a scene of skeletons barbecuing. That scene didn't exactly fit the story, did it? But everyone loved Tim's painting. They didn't want it changed. And so my editors called me and said, Bob, you have to add a scene in the book of skeletons barbecuing. What did I do to make the cover work? I added a dream sequence in which the boy dreamed of skeletons barbecuing. Clever? I'm a huge admirer of Tim and the other Goosebumps artists. Goosebumps wouldn't be Goosebumps without them. Here's an interview by Rachel Deering for R.L. Stine. Read that later. An interview with Tim Jacobus. This, by the way, is A Night in Terror Tower, and this is the blob that ate everyone. Series 1. This is the first book in the regular series, Welcome to Dead House. Book number 2, Stay Out of the Basement. Book 3, Monster Blood, July of 92. So this is interesting. I'll be able to tell you guys exactly how old I was when Night of the Living Dummy came out. So Say Cheese and Die was November of 92. Well, that's interesting. It skipped 3 months before the 4th book came out. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb was book number 5, January of 93, so another month was skipped. Let's Get Invisible, March of 93, another month was skipped. I wonder when it started going full-time, monthly books. Alright, so this is May of 93, another month was skipped, April was skipped. So this is May of 93. I was 9. So I was 9 years old when this came out. No, I was 11 when I was 9 when this came out, yeah. Okay, book number 8. Another month was skipped. May of 93, we have The Girl Who Cried Monster. Book number 9. Welcome to Camp Nightmare. This is one of my favorite books. It had a twist. See, every Goosebumps book has a twist. Some of them are stupid. Some of them are pretty ingenious. And this one was very ingenious. This twist at the end. August of 93 was The Ghost Next Door. Here we go. I think at this point, this is when it started to come every month. A book came out. I did not know that there were months between books before. So The Ghost Next Door. Yep, here's September of 93, The Haunted Mask. I'll never forget the photo in the Scholastic magazine when this came out. We were going nuts as kids. Couldn't wait for it. Be Careful What You Wish For. October of 93, right? Yeah. This girl always reminded me of Winnie Cooper from The Wonder Years, the way she looked. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. Werewolf of Fever Swamp. It was an average Goosebumps book, but I remember loving the cover when it came out. You Can't Scare Me. I'll never forget this cover as well. In a Scholastic magazine. The mud monster coming out of the ground there. January 94. Goosebumps number 16. This is what started it all. Welcome to Horrorland. Horrorland, this book had multiple sequels, had its own series, had a video game. that came out for the PlayStation 2, and if I'm not mistaken, the Nintendo DS. This is when, and I think a theme park ride. Wow, this is interesting. R.L. Stine, little tidbit here. A 2015 poll on the official Scholastic Tumblr page resulted in Welcome to Horrorland winning favorite book of the original series. That's interesting. I don't agree with it, but it's interesting. It's definitely up there as decent. Why I'm Afraid of Bees. Man, this brings back memories. I was 10 years old when this came out. Yeah. Number 18, Monster Blood 2. April of 94. Deep Trouble. This, in my opinion, is one of the worst of the series. I did not like this one at all. I thought it was horrible. And I was shocked, I remember as a kid, when they came out with a sequel. And I started thinking to myself, and my friends kind of concurred, that towards the end of its original 62-book run, I was saying that I think he's run out of ideas because he's just making sequels to some of these. So this is interesting. This is the final book of the original series to use the basic font Goosebumps title on the spine. It would be changed to the Goosebumps slime logo on the next book. I wonder... I have them right behind me. Yeah, he's right. Because the Scarecrow Walks at Midnight is book 20. And I have it right here. They had the regular Goosebumps on the spine. And then the slime started in book number 20. That's an interesting... Oh, that's what this is. This original photo that I couldn't figure out who this was. That's the Scarecrow. I don't know who that... This must be Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. I think that's the name of a Goosebumps book. This has got to be Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns right here. But this is the Scarecrow. This is a hell of a book, guys. Go Eat Worms, number 21. And R.L. Stine actually says he's not... This is one of his least favorite books that he wrote, which is very interesting. This was a great one, Ghost Beach. I love the cover. Yeah, this was a great one. Series 2. Yeah, so this is interesting. The next wave of Goosebumps books set a precedent for several series within the series with the release of Return of the Mummy, Monster Blood 3, Night of the Living Dummy 2, The Haunted Mask 2, Night of the Living Dummy 3, and Say Cheese and Die Again. The covers for these continuing stories often contain callbacks to the first books, whether through motif, color, or returning characters. By the start of the school year in September 1994, Goosebumps was enormously popular with both boys and girls, a unique achievement in children's publishing. Demand for the series increased, leading to the books being published bi-monthly by the 9th book. Interesting. So number 23 is Return of the Mummy, sequel to The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which was book number 5. Phantom of the Auditorium, number 24. Attack of the Mutant, number 25. Wasn't a real big fan of this one. My Hairiest Adventure, number 26. Yeah, I'm not a fan. of this one. I wonder who the kid was here. They took a photo of an actual kid. Wonder who that is. Might be his son, but I don't know. This is one of my favorites, Night in Terror Tower. And this is interesting. They don't have the A next to the night in the title. It's weird why I didn't put that there. And this is interesting. Tim Jacobus said this is one of his least favorite covers he ever did. He ran into deadline issues and did not have the normal amount of time to complete it. The Cuckoo Clock of Doom. This is another great one. Book 28. This is one of my favorites as well. Monster Blood 3. Now, at this point, we're starting to get kind of ridiculous. Book 30, It Came From Beneath the Sink. Night of the Living Dummy 2. The Barking Ghost, number 32, yep. This is interesting. So the first printing of this book came with a fold-out poster with information about the 1995 summer release schedule for the next few books in the series. And then later copies came with a temporary tattoo. And this is interesting because I don't think I end up getting a first copy. I remember the book having that temporary tattoo right here. A little advertisement for it. Which is strange because I always got the books when they came out. So it must have been such a limited run of the first books with the summer poster. That's very odd. Interesting. Yeah. Horror Camp Jelly Jam. I like this a lot. This was a great book. This was a great one. Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, number 34. A Shocker on Shock Street. This had a very good twist. The Haunted Mask 2. The Headless Ghost. It's the same kid. I wonder who this kid is. Maybe it's Jacobus' son? I wonder who he is. Okay. The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. How I Got My Shrunken Head, number 39. Night of the Living Dummy 3, number 40. Bad Hair Day. This I wasn't a fan of. Egg Monsters from Mars. Was not a fan of this. R.L. Stine says this is one of his favorites, but The Beast from the East. 43. Say Cheese and Die Again, book 44. Goosebumps Series 3. By 1996, Goosebumps accounted for almost 15% of Scholastic's annual revenue, and the series was selling around 4 million books a month. The television show, which debuted in October of 1995, was in full swing, introducing a new audience to the series. This was the final wave of the original series of Goosebumps book, ending in December 1997. The covers of each book are fully realized Goosebumps styles. Jacobus hits the mark every time, between unsettling, humorous, and eye-catching. This wave also contains the 4 rarest Goosebumps book: Legend of the Lost Legend, Werewolf Skin, I Live in Your Basement, and Monster Blood 4, which only existed as first editions until 2017, when Legend of the Lost Legend was included in the Goosebumps 25th Anniversary Retro set. Interesting. I have all the books, so that's cool. Did not know there was a calendar. I'm going to see if I can try to find those, or a postcard book. But book 45 was Ghost Camp. How to Kill a Monster, 46. Legend of the Lost Legend, 47. Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns is exactly, here we go. 48. I was right. There's that kid again, and then there's a girl. I don't know who these people are. Vampire Breath, number 49. What did I think the name of the book was earlier? I didn't say Vampire Breath, did I? I said, shoot. I don't think I got that one right. Calling All Creeps. This was an interesting one. I kind of like this one. This was book number 50. And they did a pretty good job with the TV series when they made that episode. Beware the Snowman, book 51. How I Learned to Fly, book 52. Not one of my favorites. Chicken Chicken, another one that I did not like. This is book number 53. Don't Go to Sleep, book 54. The Blob That Ate Everyone. This is one of Tim Jacobus's top 10 all-time favorite covers. When asked why it was one of his favorite covers, Jacobus said he wasn't sure, but he thinks it's because someone actually paid him to paint a giant tongue. The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, book 56. Another one of Jacobus's favorite covers, the frightening figure of a skeleton rising out of a lake, certainly sets the mood for this camp-themed story, which I said was one of my scarier books. Jacobus was pleased with how he created the reflection of the skull in the water. My Best Friend is Invisible, book 57. Deep Trouble 2. You know, it's funny. This is when I thought he was running out of ideas. And sure enough, later that year, now I'm 13 at this point, 13 years old. I was in 8th grade. Yeah. That's bananas. 1992 is when they came out, so he had been writing for 6 years. Yeah. This is one of the shortest ones he ever wrote, 16,000 words, and it is one of 3 Goosebumps books to win a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award, which it won in 1998. It's interesting. The Haunted School. Number 60 was Werewolf Skin. I Live in Your Basement, book 61. So, this novel has the lowest page count of the original series, despite not having the lowest word count, clocking in at 111 pages. And the last book, Monster Blood 4, this was it. December of 1997. And then here's Goosebumps Series 2000. Debuting in January 1998, the successor to the original Goosebumps series, Goosebumps Series 2000 was a darker, scarier upgrade for the new millennium. Jacobus returned as the cover artist for Goosebumps Series 2000, but the covers were quite different from the original series. Gone was the slime-bordered logo on the front and the story synopsis on the back. The Goosebumps logo itself was also changed to slant upwards, and the entire cover was now raised, just like the logo of the original books. According to Jacobus, the transition to the edgier style was easy and fun. By this point, Jacobus estimated that he had done close to 100 covers in 5 years, which averages out to about 20 covers a year, so he enjoyed getting to try out a new style. In Goosebumps Series 2000, things are darker with a less saturated, muter set of colors. The gross gore factor is ramped up while the composition features a new level of dynamism. Despite the new approach and scarier stories, the series was still squarely aimed at children, and there was even a Goosebumps Series 2000 themed Count Chocula cereal released in 1998. I did not know that. Goosebumps Series 2000 was originally intended to contain at least 40 books, but legal issues interfered, leaving the series to abruptly come to a halt after the release of Ghost in the Mirror. Despite its short run, Goosebumps Series 2000 will be remembered as the edgier collection that introduced Goosebumps to a new generation of young horror fans and took things to another level of scary. So this was Cry of the Cat in January of 1998. Bride of the Living Dummy, February of 98. Creature Teacher, I remember this. This was one of the better ones. March of 98. Invasion of the Body Squeezers Part 1 and Part 2. So this is 4 and 5. I Am Your Evil Twin, book number 6. This was another good one. Revenge Are Us, book number 7. Fright Camp, book number 8. Are You Terrified Yet, book number 9. Headless Halloween, book 10. An Attack of the Graveyard Ghouls, book number 11. Brain Juice, book 12. Stine says Brain Juice is one of my favorites in the entire series, and one that I feel is often overlooked by readers. Return to Horrorland, book 13. Jekyll and Heidi, book 14. It has to be Jacobus's children, I imagine, because he's always in these covers. So it's got to be him and his kids. Scream School, book number 15. This is interesting. This is one of only 3 Goosebumps Series 2000 books to be written in the third person. Along with Fright Camp and Are You Terrified Yet? This is one of the few Goosebumps Series 2000 books where nothing supernatural happens. The Mummy Walks, book number 16. The Werewolf in the Living Room, book number 17. Horrors of the Black Ring, book number 18. Horrors of the Black Ring has the lowest page count of any novel within both Goosebumps Series 2000 and the original Goosebumps series, coming in at only 108 pages. Return to Ghost Camp, book number 19. Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid, book 20. The Haunted Car, book 21. Full Moon Fever, book 22. Slappy's Nightmare, book 23. Earth Geeks Must Go, book 24. Ghost in the Mirror, this is the last one, book 25. So 15 books did not get released. This was unpublished. This is interesting. The Incredible Shrinking Fifth Grader. There was going to be another Goosebumps Series 2000 book number 27 titled When the Snake Bites. Its release date was scheduled for March 2000. No artwork or story was created. In the year 2000, R.L. Stine published a one-off book titled The Adventures of Shrinkman. The book was the first of 6 standalone novellas that Stine would publish between 2000 and 2001. On November 14, 2017, R.L. Stine confirmed on Twitter that the plot for The Adventures of Shrinkman had evolved from The Incredible Shrinking Fifth Grader. And I have those, and the interesting thing, guys, is those standalone novellas, I didn't even know he even published. I had no idea he did. And if there's 6 of them, I gotta make sure I have all of them. I think I do. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool that they have this stuff. So Goosebumps Gold was supposed to get released and never did. And there's artwork to this. This is sick. Around 6 months after he completed his work on Goosebumps Series 2000, Jacobus was contracted to create the cover art for a new series, Goosebumps Gold. Although all of his previous covers were created using traditional mediums, the covers for Goosebumps Gold were created digitally. Jacobus completed and sent in the artwork for The Haunted Mask Lives and Happy Holidays from Deadhouse in January 2001. The covers for the 2 books were similar to the template for the original series, with the new logo created by Jacobus at the top of the page and the title of the book at the bottom. However, instead of a slime theme, the template appears much more digital and pixelated, like an old computer paint program. The colors for the border, logo, and title were different for the 2 books, but the word gold was left in gold for both covers. Okay. So, a return to the saturated colors of the original series, the color illustration for The Haunted Mask Lives features a girl screaming as she rips off a mask. The fuchsia in the background is textured in a way that calls to mind the beginnings of the digital age, as does the texture of the mask, which resembles green goo. The outside of the left side of the figure is touched with blue light, suggesting a light source, while the inside glows orange and red like a demonic fire. The flower ring on the child's finger was highly fashionable at the time of the book's creation. For the final cover design, mist was added to the mask, as was a flower motif to the collar of the girl's shirt. The Happy Holidays from Deadhouse cover appears at first glance to be a beautiful Christmas scene, complete with cheerful lights, a door wreath, and warm candles. However, a closer inspection reveals the wreath is in the shape of a skull, which is streaked with a myriad of beautiful colors including pinks, blues, orange, yellow, and red. The door opens into an ominous orange mist, which seems to creep out of the door towards readers. This book also had mist added to the final cover design. Unfortunately, the Goosebumps Gold series was canceled before Stine ever wrote a single book. I remember that. Goosebumps live on stage. Interesting. Goosebumps movie and soundtrack. Guys, that's the book. This is very awesome. What lies before you is the ultimate collection of terrifyingly iconic art from R.L. Stine's spectacular Goosebumps series. The classic series of books that captured the imagination and fear of children was graced with covers by several artists, but none as prolifically as Tim Jacobus. In this book, you will find the secrets to Jacobus's eye-grabbing art and the stories behind Stine's twisted tales. Behold the beauty and horror that has been scaring and delighting readers since 1992. This is awesome. This is a great book. A great book. And if you're a Goosebumps fan, I suggest grabbing one. I think it was 20-something bucks, but it's well worth it. Absolutely well worth it. And it's interesting to see if any of my books still have... While I have you guys here, let me bring out the Barking Ghost. See, some of these Goosebumps books that I have are my originals, but most of them were not. I traded them all into a used bookstore when I was 16 or 17. They were just taking up space. And I remember my mom not being thrilled with me when I did it. She was very pissed because I got almost nothing for everything. She probably thought they'd be worth money, and she'd probably be right now, 20-something, 30-something years later. But let's see, if I pull out book number 32, let's see what we got. It's not it. Here we go. Yeah, so my copy, it says free terrifying tattoo, which is what I thought. And does it have the tattoo? I doubt it. It's probably been... Oh my goodness, no, okay. This is... Yeah, I bought this on... I forget what website I bought this on, but the tattoo's not here. It's been probably ripped out by now. It'd be interesting to see if I could find the calendars and the postcard book. That'd be interesting. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. If you want to comment below. Give the video a like. I have another quick unboxing video I'm going to do, and then as soon as I can figure out how to set up this camera mount, all of the stuff I bought for the video game roleplay came in. So, again, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.